Let me tell you what happened inside the steel mansion the night the sirens came. It was almost midnight. Rain on the windows. Thunder rolling over the hills. The whole house smelled like expensive whiskey and cold marble. Silent. Too perfect. Too rich. Then Michael couldn't breathe. Sophia was the first one to hear him. She wasn't supposed to be on the second floor. The staff rules were clear: no access to the family wing after 9 p.m. Typed in bold. Signed by Robert Steele himself. Billionaire. Real estate king. Untouchable. But Sophia heard a sound that wasn't normal. Not coughing. Not a sore throat. It was choking. Wet. Sharp. Desperate for air. "Michael," she whispered, pushing open his door. Panic hit. Michael was on the floor beside his bed. Face pale. Lips turning gray-blue. Hands clawing at his throat. His eyes wide and wild. Sophia dropped to her knees. "Michael, look at me, okay? Stay with me." He tried to speak. Nothing came out. Just that horrible gasping. Her heart slammed in her chest. She'd seen this before. Back in her neighborhood. Back when Emma, her little sister, had the same attack at 7. The hospital said, severe allergic reaction. Next time, don't wait. Next time. There was no next time allowed to happen here. "Where's the injector?" she shouted, yanking open drawers. "Where is it?" No answer. Just the storm. Just Michael's breath getting weaker, weaker, weaker. Sophia ran to the hallway. "Help! Somebody help! He can't breathe." Nothing. Of course nothing. Past midnight, the night staff was cut to minimum presence to save cost. Robert's idea. Why pay for humans when you have cameras, right? Sophia ran back to Michael. "Listen to me," she whispered, grabbing his face gently. "I'm here. I'm not going to let you die." She picked him up. He was light. Too light for a 10-year-old. Bones and fear. "Hold on, baby. Hold on." And that's when everything illegal started. Sophia carried Michael down the back stairs, through service corridors guests never saw, past steel shelves and bleach and the faint onion smell from dinner cleanup. The alarm sensors at the side exit blinked red. Staff were not allowed to remove any member of the Steele family from the property without written clearance. That rule was not a suggestion. It was in every contract. Sophia didn't care. She kicked open the door. The alarm screamed. Cold rain hit her face like needles. Michael's body jerked in her arms. "Stay with me, Michael. I got you." She put him in Robert Steele's black SUV, the one she was absolutely, aggressively, very clearly not allowed to drive. Then she did it. She broke one rule after another. Hands shaking on the wheel. Tires ripping down the driveway. Mansion lights exploding on behind her as the security system woke up and started recording. "Do you understand? A maid just kidnapped a billionaire's only son. At least, that's what the court would call it later. But right now, in that rain, with the wipers smearing water and panic across the glass, it wasn't kidnapping. It was survival." The ER doors flew open so hard they slammed against the wall. Bright white light. Disinfectant in the air. Monitors beeping. That hospital sound that feels like danger and hope at the same time. "He's not breathing right," Sophia yelled. "He needs epinephrine now." A nurse rushed over. "How long?" 3 minutes. Maybe 4. Please. Michael's head lolled. His eyelids fluttered. His chest made tiny shallow pulls like he was trying to sip air through a straw. The nurse didn't waste time. "I see you. Move now." They took him. They ran with him. And just like that, Sophia was alone in the waiting area, shaking. Her clothes were soaked. Rainwater dripped from her hair onto the tile. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. She could still feel his weight in her arms. She could still hear that sound. She whispered. Please be okay. Please, Michael. Then the glass doors slid open again. Robert Steele walked in. Not walked. Stormed. Custom suit. Cufflinks. Anger like fire and ice. People whispered. That's him. Everybody in that city knew who he was. Money. Headlines. Power. Behind him was John, his security chief. Broad shoulders. Buzz cut. Ex-military. Eyes always calculating. Robert didn't even look at Sophia first. He went straight to the front desk. Where is my son? Sir, he's being treated. Do you know who I am? Yes, Mr. Steele, but... Then get the doctor. Now. Sophia stood up on unsteady legs. Robert. He turned. And the way he looked at her. Hatred. Like she wasn't human. Like she was a problem to remove. What, he said quietly, did you do? Sophia swallowed. He couldn't breathe. He was on the floor. The injector wasn't in his room and nobody else was upstairs, and the system wouldn't call an ambulance without your code. So I just... You took him without permission? He was dying. You took my son, Robert repeated, voice low, dangerous, without my permission. John stepped between them. Ms. Alvarez, you are aware that staff removal of a Steele family member is a violation of Section 12, Paragraph 3 of your agreement? His tone was calm. Legal. Cold. Sophia stared at him. John. He couldn't breathe. You kidnapped a minor, John said. That's a felony. Kidnap. Felony. Like she wasn't the one who saved him. Her jaw clenched. Are you serious right now? You want to talk contracts while he's fighting to stay alive? Robert stepped in close. Close enough that she could smell his cologne. Expensive. Bitter. My lawyers will handle this, he murmured. You're done. Sophia shook. I don't work for you anymore. He smiled. Oh, you don't understand. You won't work for anyone. And then the police walked in. Because Robert Steele didn't dial 911 and say, my maid saved my son. He said, someone took my child. He said, bring cuffs. And they did. Cold metal closed around Sophia's wrists. As they led her past Robert, past John, past the bright hallway, she heard one sentence that stabbed deeper than the cuffs. Robert said, make sure she never gets near Michael again. Never. Why would he say never, unless he was hiding something? The courtroom did not smell like justice. It smelled like old carpet, burnt coffee, and fear. Sophia sat at the defense table in borrowed clothes. Hair pulled back. Wrists still red. She had slept maybe an hour in a holding cell on a metal bench that felt like winter. Her head pounded. Her mouth tasted like metal. She kept replaying the sirens, the cuffs, Michael's tiny gasps. Across the aisle sat Robert Steele in a navy suit. Calm. Polished. Like this was a meeting, not a criminal hearing. John sat behind him, arms crossed, watching her like she was already guilty. Michael was not in the room. And at the center, quiet, watching everything, was Judge Evelyn Hart. She didn't look like movie judges. No white hair. No sleepy voice. She looked sharp. Mid-40s. Dark blazer. Eyes that missed nothing. You got the feeling you could not lie to this woman and survive. Even her stillness felt dangerous. The clerk began. Case number 14-27B. State versus Sophia Alvarez. Charge 1. Excuse me, Sophia blurted, voice shaking. Where is Michael? Is he okay? Judge Evelyn lifted a hand. Answer her. The room went still. Robert finally looked up. My son is receiving care in a private facility, Your Honor. He's recovering. Sophia let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Her shoulders dropped. Tears burned and she wiped them fast, embarrassed to cry in front of him. Evelyn watched her closely. Ms. Alvarez, the judge said, you are being charged with felony child abduction and vehicle theft. How do you plead? Not guilty, Sophia said. I didn't abduct him. I saved him. Robert leaned forward slightly, almost smiling. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, this is simple. The defendant removed a minor from his residence without authorization. She then drove Mr. Steele's vehicle off the property and crossed district lines without parental consent. Home security footage and vehicle GPS confirm this. We request remand. No bail. Sophia's stomach dropped. What? No. I have my sister. Evelyn's eyes flicked toward her. You have a sister? Yes. Emma. She's 15. I'm all she has. Our mom is gone. If I don't come home. Objection to theatrics, the prosecutor said. Sit down, Judge Evelyn said softly. The prosecutor sat. Evelyn turned to Robert. Mr. Steele. A question. Yes, Your Honor. What medical emergency specifically was your son experiencing when Ms. Alvarez removed him from the home? The room froze. Robert blinked. I'm not a doctor. Then tell me what you were told. Robert hesitated. An allergic, they said it might have been a reaction to something he ate. Evelyn nodded slowly. And was emergency equipment available in his room? Robert paused. Just one heartbeat. Sophia saw it. That tiny delay. That guilty pause. Evelyn saw it too. Her voice changed. Mr. Steele, you will answer under oath in a moment. And you will choose your words very, very carefully. For the first time since midnight, Robert Steele did not look fully in control. You could see it in his shoulders, in his jaw, in the way his eyes flicked toward John, then back to the judge. And Sophia felt something new move in her chest. Hope. Your Honor, Robert said through his teeth. This is outrageous. What's outrageous, Judge Evelyn replied, is that a 10-year-old nearly suffocated in a $42 million home with biometric locks and a private medical wing. Her gaze was ice. So before I consider locking up the only person who actually got that child to a hospital alive, we're going to get specific. The courtroom held its breath. Evelyn turned to the bailiff. Bring in the witness. The side door opened. And Sophia almost burst into tears. Michael. He walked in slow, holding the hand of a woman in scrubs. He looked tired. Fragile. His throat still a little swollen. But alive. Breathing. Warm color back in his face. Sophia pressed a shaking hand over her mouth. Oh my God. Robert shot to his feet. Absolutely not. My son will not. Sit, Evelyn said without looking at him. He sat. Michael glanced around like the room was made of glass. He spotted Sophia, and his face changed. Soft. Relieved. Hi, he whispered. Sophia smiled through tears. Hey, buddy. The prosecutor stood. Objection, Your Honor. The child. Overruled, Evelyn said. He's already here. She leaned forward. Michael. I know this is scary. You're very brave. I'm just going to ask one question, okay? Michael nodded. Last night, Evelyn said, voice gentle now, were you able to breathe? Michael swallowed. No. Did you ask for help? He nodded. I tried. I couldn't shout. Did anyone come? He looked down. Sophia came. Evelyn nodded. Did you have your emergency injector in your room? Michael shook his head. Sophia closed her eyes. Evelyn turned, slow, controlled, toward Robert. Why not? Robert's jaw moved. There were concerns about improper medication access by staff. Sophia stared at him. What? Evelyn did not blink. So you removed a life-saving injector from your son's room to prevent theft. Robert snapped. My household has protocols for a reason. Your household almost had a funeral, Evelyn said. Silence. You could feel the mood of the room tilt. Like gravity just changed sides. Robert tried to recover. Your Honor, with respect, this woman is not innocent. She violated direct orders. She took my vehicle. She disobeyed every security policy we have in place. She is a danger. Michael squeezed the nurse's hand. She's not a danger, he whispered. Evelyn heard him. And then Michael said something that made Robert's face go white. Dad, he said softly, why did you tell them to say she kidnapped me? The air cracked. Robert froze. Sophia felt the floor shift under her. Evelyn leaned back in her chair, studying Robert like a scientist watching a fire spread. Interesting, she murmured. Very interesting. Then she looked at Sophia. Ms. Alvarez, she said, her voice calm. I am not done with you. But I am also not done with him. That's when you could see it. On Robert's face. Fear. Real fear. The kind men like him are not used to feeling in public. And that fear. It wasn't about his son. It was about secrets. Evelyn folded her hands. Here's what's going to happen. Every eye in the room locked on her. First, she said, the charge of felony child abduction is denied for remand. I am releasing Ms. Sophia Alvarez on her own recognizance pending further hearing. Sophia blinked. I can go. Yes, Evelyn said. You can go. The prosecutor jumped up. Your Honor, absolutely not. She's a flight risk. Evelyn turned her head slowly. On what basis? She drove directly to a hospital and waited in the lobby. She did not flee. She did not hide. She did not demand ransom. She begged strangers to save a child's life. Her tone sharpened. If that's flight risk to you, I deeply worry about your definition of human. The prosecutor sat. Sophia covered her face with both hands. You could see her shoulders shaking. Relief, after hours of metal doors and cold benches and whispers of prison. Evelyn continued. Second, there will be an emergency protective order. Robert exhaled like victory. John smirked. Then Evelyn said, for Michael. Robert frowned. I'm sorry. Effective immediately, Evelyn said, voice steady. No individual in the Steele household may obstruct, delay, or otherwise prevent emergency medical access for the minor Michael Steele. That includes withholding life-saving medication from his personal space. That includes locking medical response systems behind parental authorization codes at night. Robert's face darkened. You can't. I can, Evelyn said. And I just did. Soft gasps rippled through the courtroom. Evelyn wasn't finished. Third, Mr. Steele, you will surrender to this court by 5 p.m. today, all internal security footage from the last 24 hours, plus any communications between you and your security director, John Keller, regarding the wording of the police report. You will also provide Michael's full medical file from the attending physician, including allergy protocol history. John's jaw tightened. Robert opened his mouth, closed it. Failure to comply, Evelyn said, will be treated as contempt. And obstruction. The word obstruction hit the air like a hammer. Sophia stared. She couldn't even breathe for a second. Was this really happening? Was someone finally standing up to him? Evelyn turned to her, softer now. Ms. Alvarez, you are not to contact Michael without court permission. Do you understand? Sophia swallowed hard. Her voice was small. Yes, Your Honor. Michael's eyes filled. But... Evelyn raised a hand. For now. This isn't over. Then she looked at Robert, and her voice dropped to something quiet and lethal. And Mr. Steele, she said, I strongly suggest you get ahead of this. Because from where I'm sitting, it does not look like a kidnapping case. It looks like neglect. The room exploded. Reporters whispering. Phones up. Robert furious. John on his feet. Security moving. Michael calling, "Sophia!" across the room as the nurse held him back. Sophia crying and laughing at the same time, because she was free but not really free, and she'd been called a criminal, and now the biggest man in the city was the one shaking. And you know what the wildest part is? This was only the first hearing. So tell me, be honest. If you were Judge Evelyn, who would you believe? And what should happen next?